Thank you, everyone, and welcome to another session of Mountain Minds Monday, September 2017. This is a particularly exciting session. Those who are in this room already feel it, and they feel it because it's really hot. So many people squeezing in a little room. I'm welcoming everyone who's in this room, but there's also a huge crowd in the overflow room, which is actually the more comfortable place to enjoy our session, to be totally honest. In addition to that, we also have a crowd, I don't know how big, in Reno at Milling Cups in Reno, that also is looking at this now live stream, so hello Reno, welcome. And of course we have live stream viewers anywhere where you can access YouTube, which I heard is a lot of places. So welcome everyone to this event. Now I need to have my notes because today is a special event. Those events are of course only possible because we have sponsors. And as we grow, we need more sponsors. So I'm very happy to say that instead of the usual 3 sponsors, we actually have 4 tonight. It would be even better if we had 5, but 4 is wonderful already. So we have New Leaders, which has been our longest running sponsors. They have been in town for 10 years. A lot of happy customers. They do web application and mobile app application development. So if you're successful with your pitch tonight and become a successful startup, this is a way to get people help you out and develop your applications. We have 2 wonderful law firms represented here. One is Holland and Hart, has been sponsoring for quite a while, and Dick is also represented here as a judge for tonight. And we have Mobile Law. Actually, this stands for a longer name, which is Molsby and Bordner, I believe. Yeah, okay. And Rich is here representing this law firm, and another wonderful sponsor and partner for us. The Lift is another company that's dear to our heart because, not only because they're sponsoring, because they're a co-working space in Truckee, which for years has been always a vision, and now it's a reality. So we are very thrilled to have them. Today, this slide is really crowded because we also have a bunch of companies presenting prizes to the winners of today's pitch. And I believe they will all be explained in more detail, so I'm not going into detail now. In addition to that, we have community partners, Chamber of Commerce, Truckee, Tahoe Community Television here, represented here, who are working with us, local payment systems, or what is the name? Forgot it, but I'll mention it in our next event. And Pizza on the Hill, of course. Pay It, I think. Use Pay It. Use Pay It. Here we go. Yes. So they make it possible for us to so you can actually pay with credit card. Those sponsors are really valuable. As I mentioned, we are growing. We actually could need more sponsors. Talk to me or send an email to us if you know somebody or if yourself would be willing to sponsor us. I also want to point out that there are those individual sponsors, and this is really what has helped us out a lot while we were growing and still only had 3 corporate sponsors. Individual sponsorship means you pay for a year, $150. You don't have to pay your fee again at the events, and you get an extra drink, or if you take soft drinks, even 2 for free. So that is something that helps us a lot. If you want to support us, please do that. In addition, kind of all the money doesn't get us very far. It's all volunteer-based, what we're doing here. I know that some people sometimes think, they get so many emails from Rachel, and so that they think she must get a good salary for all that. No, she does not. She is a volunteer like everybody else, including myself and Garrett and Ellen and everybody who has helped tonight. So if you can spare a few minutes or a few hours, we would be very thankful if you can help volunteer. There are sign-up sheets that are either here or on the web, where you can actually be a volunteer. The next thing I want to say is that today is a little different. A team has worked hard to make this a very, very special event. The lead organizer, again, was Rachel, and she is one of our co-founders at Tahoe Silicon Mountain, and of course, as she said, owner of McCullough Web Services, web design, and development. Local, which we appreciate. And she's going to lead us into the rest of the evening.
Thank you, Johannes. I'm so excited to be here, first of all. I want to tell you a little bit about the background of Tahoe Silicon Mountain first. So we started in 2010. So Johannes had this idea that we really needed to get professionals together, connect everyone, and support each other. So we've grown and changed a lot since 2010. So our first meetings, we had, I don't know, a dozen people, something like that, right? And tonight, there's probably 100 people here. We've grown in other ways too. We started the live stream. As Johannes mentioned, we have people watching at home. We have 2 locations in Reno tonight, at the Innovation Center and at the Osmond Center. So we have a lot of people watching. And then we have also a ton of events, which, Kristen, can you, oh, is our clicker broken? Can I go? There we go. We have a ton of events going on. I won't go over them, but you can just check it out on the slide. But really, over all this time, you know, the size has changed, but our vision, it hasn't changed that much. We're here to really grow the professional and entrepreneurial community in Tahoe. And I'm just always thinking, how can we do it better? How can we grow it more? How can we get people more connected? And I always have lots of ideas, no shortage of ideas. You know, some are small and some are big. Some are kind of a little crazy making and harder sells. When we started the live stream, everyone was saying like, oh gosh, is the group gonna shrink? Is no one gonna show up here? Is the group just going to die out? And then we doubled in size. So that was a risk that paid off. This event is really in a similar vein. We're all questioning. If we're having these pitches, do we need a group of investors lined up and ready to watch these pitches and invest? Well, we don't have that, but I wanted to take the risk anyway and organize this event. And really, where that decision came from was the Mountain Venture Summit in Telluride this past February. And you can learn a lot more about that on our YouTube channel. If you look back to April, I talked all about that. But the purpose of the Mountain Venture Summit was to see other mountain towns and how they were growing their entrepreneurial ecosystem. And my biggest takeaway from that was that every town has its own path. And that's what really got me to say, all right, well, we have our own path and we're gonna do this showcase. We don't have investors. It's okay. And so here we are. And really my goal with this is to build the entrepreneurial spirit here in Tahoe and just another way to grow our community. And unbelievably, we're today and we're here right now. And of course, I did not go at this alone. There's been so many people that helped and organize this event and our pitch camp, which led up to this. And so just a few people I want to mention: Blaze Dillingham, Jan Holland, who's like our most enthusiastic, passionate volunteer. And then we have about actually 20 people here tonight at Pizza on the Hill greeting you, checking you in, making sure everything runs smoothly, doing the timing. So many jobs just for making tonight work. Our organizing team is Ellen Rayner from Tahoe Silicon Mountain. You'll actually see her pitch tonight, so she's doing double duty. And then our partners at the Sierra Business Council, who did all the work running the pitch camp, have been amazing. So we have Kristen York, I'll introduce her next, Jessica Carr, Chelsea Watershed, and I think that's it from, oh boy, from the Sierra Business Council. So as Johannes mentioned, we are 100% volunteer run. We're looking for 3 main volunteer roles, and we'll figure out where the sign-up sheet is. I think you might have it to pass around in your pile. And the main roles are, we want to do another pitch camp. So helping organize that, helping organize any one of our regular events. And then we have a special ask for tonight. We're looking for a graphic designer to give us a proper logo instead of some text. And so that will all be on the sheet. I have have to say, so tonight is the first one of these. I hope there will be many more, and our goal is just to improve it. Obviously, we need a bigger venue, so I invite you all to be part of that. And just another amazing thank you to all of you for being here tonight. And now I'll dive into how this is going to work. So we have 6 entrepreneurs pitching. Their pitches will each be 5 minutes. After their pitch, we'll have 5 minutes for questions. We have our judges, which Kristen will introduce shortly. They'll each get 1 question, and then we'll open it up to questions from all of you or from online. And we'll have a People's Choice vote out in the hallway at the end with those dots you got at registration, and the judges will vote as well. And that's really our program. Kristen will tell you a little more, so I'm going to introduce her, Kristen York. She is the VP of Business Innovation at the Sierra Business Council.
Okay. We are going to get on to the best show, but I'm going to see if I have to. Oh, thank you, Blaze, for fixing that. Anyway, this is so exciting. We had 21 companies sign up. 18 were brave enough to come. They sort of, natural selection narrowed down to about 16. And then on the final night, we selected, well, the judges, the coaches selected these 6. So these are the 6 best, and it was a tough cut, let me tell you, very, very tough. These are quality, and they've been working really, really hard. So I want to get on to them, but I want to tell you one thing about your People's Choice. So the judges have some criteria. They're going to be looking for some very specific things about scalability. People's Choice, vote for what resonates with you, okay? You're going to see some things here, and it's going to be like, what solves a problem in your life, or what would you buy? What do you really like? So that is your criteria as People's Choice, okay? It's not, can this be the next Facebook? That is not your job tonight, except for your judges. On to judges. We have 3 esteemed judges here. We have Dick Schulze, Holland and Hart, okay? And Hannah Sullivan, Emerald Bay Investors, and Josh Miller, and I'm gonna, okay. Okay, so anyway, I want to get on with this because this is the show. Our first, not really contestant, our first entrepreneur, and excuse me, because I'm going to be jumping down to get this loaded up here. Allie Rice, who I had no idea what she was talking about when she first came in, and I think you're going to be amazed here. Presentation. Okay, and timers, are timers ready? Excellent. You'll get a 1-minute warning. Okay. Go.
I have a.
Okay.
Standing in front of the fire hydrant. Okay. All right. Hi, everybody. I'm Allison Reitz, and I'm the founder of Community Yogi. This is the first software platform to connect yoga instructors with local spaces in order to provide affordable yoga for our community. You can think of it as Airbnb for yoga. So this is what we usually think of as yoga in America today, and this is a hugely growing industry. In 2015, there was 10% of Americans practicing yoga, and that had grown from 6% in 2012. And if you're an expert yogi or a person who does yoga, this looks like an awesome class. But if you're a beginner or maybe someone who's new to yoga, this can be pretty intimidating. In fact, the biggest barriers for coming to a yoga class is, of course, the cost of the class, but also this feeling of exclusivity at a yoga studio. So to solve these issues, I decided to combine my background in technology with my love of yoga to create Community Yogi. And what Community Yogi does is it uses technology to give teachers a chance to browse and find local spaces that are interested in hosting classes in their community. It gives those spaces exposure to potential customers, and it physically brings those customers into their space for absolutely free. And it also provides an affordable and accessible way for students to try yoga. So this is our first community class at Kama Coffee in Carson City. Most of these students, it's their first time doing yoga. And for most of these students, they're still coming back to community yogi classes 9 months later. For instance, this is Dane here. He works at Office Depot, and he printed out our flyers, and he handed them to me and said, "I printed one for myself, I'm coming." And later on, he told me he would never have walked into a yoga studio. So it's not just Dane. In the last 6 months, our first 6 months, we've grown our community by 5 times. So that's our students, teachers, and spaces. And this is really cool because this goes through the summer months, which is traditionally a really slow time in the yoga industry. So our model allows us to grow exponentially. So this is an incredibly scalable business. Not only can we rely on our student base, but we can rely on the loyal following of teachers and the established communities in the spaces that we're hosting classes in. So the way we make money is we take 20% of the class revenue. This allows us to pay our teachers up to 80% of their class revenue, which gives them the opportunity to actually make a living doing what they love in teaching yoga. We operate on a choose your price basis. So every student can choose their price for the classes they attend. And we found that our average student payment per class is actually $10, which means students are paying more than our suggested price. So this is a very low risk situation because we actually don't pay any rent for the spaces that are hosting our classes. And this gives us a very low overhead, which is a huge issue with yoga studios. So a study in 2016 showed that actually over 24 million people were doing yoga, but they weren't doing it in a studio. And where were they doing it? They were doing it at home, streaming it on YouTube. So I call them the YouTube yogis. The same study also found that 80 million people were likely to do yoga in the next year, and that for every teacher that's teaching right now, there are 2 teachers in teacher training. So we're getting ready for this huge wave of teachers and students, and there's not enough studios to support them. So based on these numbers and on our average $10 payment, this is our potential future market, with our most promising segment being YouTube yogis who are already doing it at home. Right now, our class attendance represents about 0.4% of the population in our area, and we plan to use an ambassador program to expand into more cities and hopefully reach 80,000 students by 2019. So we're looking for $400,000 for our first seed round. That'll include the cost of development of our software that we need to scale, and building our team, and growing our marketing budget. Any questions?
Exactly 5 minutes. Really hard. And she practiced a lot, right? Yes. So I'm going to time our question and answer period too. We have first questions from the judges, and 1 question each. If you can make it a complex question if you need to. And then we'll go to our audience, and looks like I saw a hand already. So, Judge, excuse me.
Okay, how do you get your new students?
So right now we have a website that people can go to. We use Facebook a lot for advertising. Actually, we found that there's a huge word of mouth thing going on Facebook, which helps with our exponential community building thing. So Facebook, and we've also used Meetup. That's actually how we started out. And in the future, we're planning to add more content marketing, so our teachers and guest writers are going to write articles and have more valuable content on our website.
So if I want to attend one of your classes, I have to sign up online?
Nope, you can drop into the class.
So
you can pay cash.
So your revenue share is directly
on the word of your teachers?
Well, there's a portion of it that comes through our system, so you can pay online ahead of time, and you can also pay with your card in class. And then some people do pay cash, but we find that's a really small percentage. And at the end of every class, the teacher does a report that shows how much cash they collected, and we calculate it out. And then the students report how much they paid, so we can kind of have a check and balance with that.
It seems like your ideal class would be 100 students in a park paying $3 each, right? And something like that.
Sure, that sounds awesome.
A very large attendance, small fee. How do you get that viral marketing where, you know, you're filling up these 100-person classes very easily?
Yeah, that's, so we're working on an ambassador program that'll help recruit teachers and spaces. And the cool part, like I said, is that the teachers bring their own following of students, and then those students bring their friends. We've seen it with our classes so far. So it's really just a word of mouth thing. And it's a lot of people, like I was saying, that do it at home on YouTube. And so we're planning to definitely market that way to that demographic of people. But it's really just really cool how it spreads by word of mouth and within the community. Yeah.
Lauren, did you get? Yeah. Okay, well, Lauren and then our audience member. Okay. So I have a question. I think it's coming from the fireplace room. What's in it for the venue owner if they are not getting paid?
Yeah. Okay. So that when there's a class in their space, so the picture I showed of community yogi at Kama Coffee, right? That was the first class we had, and she wanted us to have that class because she's actually closed on Sundays, and at the same time as when her closed sign is like turning people away, we're actually bringing people into her really cool creative space. And I've seen them say, "Whoa, this is awesome menu. Look at all the pictures on the walls. I gotta come back here," you know? So there's lots of exposure that you get by having a class. And we're gonna kind of create this competitive thing like Airbnb has with the class or the hosts listing their space on there.
So you mentioned 2 different strategies for acquiring new students and teachers, and I wanted to dive a little bit deeper. So can you give us a cost per acquisition for both your new students and your new teachers? So specifically, you had mentioned you were using word of mouth, content advertising, and paid advertising on Facebook. So can you give us your current cost per acquisition for the new student and a new teacher?
Yeah, so the current cost is really, really low, actually. We've been spending about $40 a month on Facebook, and I pay for the website, but that's, you know, other than that, it's word of mouth. So I think that when we increase our marketing budget and we're able to do more with that, then we can really see a lot of growth with that. Does that answer your question?
Almost.
Okay.
30 more seconds. So how, of the $40 a month, how many new teachers or students?
Oh, okay. Yeah, so we get about 24 new students per month from that $40. So that's our.
Person you're paying for content marketing, how much did they cost?
We don't have that yet. We're not doing that yet. Yeah, that's part of what we're going to do with this when we raise money.
I think we are ready to move on. Sorry, audience, but we will have time. I'm sure Ellie will take questions after.
Thank you so much.
Good job. Now we are going to welcome Karen McNamara. So Karen, we met, gosh, you first started this at our business boot camp, and it was sort of this idea that was wrapping around.
Oh.
Okay. Thank you. Anyway, we're going to welcome Karen McNamara of Conscious Container. We first met her at one of Sierra Business Council's business boot camps when this was just a nugget of an idea, and 2 years later, She has polished this up, and she is ready to go, right?
All right.
Timers, are you ready? Okay.
Yes. And where's our advance this side? Garrett, I advance this side?
Yep.
Okay.
That's it. There you go. Yeah,
All right, good. Well, good evening. I want to start off with 3 important points we want to make about Conscious Container. First, Conscious Container is a viable and scalable business model. Number 2, I'm so nervous. Number 2 is that businesses and consumers can actually can make an environmental impact. And lastly, this business has already been started. We have a customer who is buying bottles from us, and we have consumers that are already bringing bottles into our collection locations. So let's talk about how Conscious Container is going to make money and save money using glass bottles. So I want to start off with a question. I love this. So what happens to that glass bottle when you throw it away? And what if that glass bottle was refilled instead of thrown in the trash? Let's take a look. So here's the problem. And really, it's the challenge and the opportunity for Conscious Container. We are going to be, let me take a step back. Conscious Container is about collecting and cleaning and reusing glass bottles. And what happens is that we are, I'm getting really confused. Hang on a moment. So the problem is, this is the challenge and the opportunity for Conscious Container. So we are all loading up our landfills with glass bottles. And actually, those glass bottles have a monetary and a positive environmental impact if we actually refill those bottles. So what's the solution? Conscious Container. We are going to collect and clean and refill bottles reuse the bottles, reuse the craft beer bottles. We're going to reuse the bottles, focusing on the craft beer industry. And what that's going to present for our craft brewers is a lower overall cost for those glass bottles, and it is going to be significantly impact it's going to have a significant impact on the environment. So who's not going to like this idea? Big beer industry isn't going to like this. Single-use bottle resellers aren't going to like it. And waste haulers are going to see this as a challenge to their revenue and franchise space while they're creating trash. So craft brewing is the right marketplace to get this business going. The number of craft brewers in the United States today is over 5,300 brewers, and that number, the regional brewers actually, our regional go-to-market strategy fits with the model that's out there with craft brewers. And glass bottles are still the dominant packaging choice of craft brewers. So how's the business model going to look? As I said, we're going to collect, we're going to clean, and we're going to resell glass bottles for refilling. And we're going to be starting that with the first phase, which is setting up collection infrastructures. And what we've been doing is we've been working with regional and business partners, the craft brewing community, to get these collection pilots up and running, which they are running right now. And we've got great traction. Our collection is launched. We've got 9 locations around the North Tahoe Truckee area, and we are seeing substantial month-over-month increases in the number of bottles that are coming into those centers. And then next week, we are launching a pilot with Great Basin Brewery, an incentive-based collection pilot, to see how that goes down in that space. The team is absolutely fantastic. We have business and startup experience, as well as a lot of operations and business experience. And what this team is about is we are committed to bringing this impactful business solution to market. So we are looking for investors to shape this marketplace that we are going to reduce environmental impact, and we are going to grow this scalable business. We're seeking investors to raise $260,000 on convertible notes, and the funding is it's a 12-month runway with strategic marketing, operations and payroll, and hopefully a few craft beers. Thank you.
Can you talk about the economics of the business? How, are you having to buy bottles? Are people just doing it out of the goodness of their heart and then you're reselling them? Tell us a little bit about that.
So we're looking at during this first phase, we're looking at several different collection options. One of them right now is where people actually bring the bottles in, they donate them. The incentive-based model that we're launching down in northern Nevada is we are going to be, with the Great Basin, we're going to be paying people for those bottles so that they're incentivized. We're going to be giving them $1 a case, and Great Basin is actually going to give them a coupon to use those funds in one of their breweries. So we're going to pay them $1. We're going to practice the incentive, or put in place the incentivized model.
And then what are you selling for?
What are we selling them for? So glass bottles, we're selling the used glass bottle to a brewery that's going to refill them for 5 cents a piece. Normally they pay 15.
On that note, I think there's also an opportunity to pass some of your costs down to the consumer. Specifically, you know, if you're in a bar and you can pay another 25 cents to buy out of a reused bottle, I think most people would make that 25-cent contribution towards what you're doing. So I think there's additional revenue model that you can maybe explore there to boost your marginal revenue.
Yes, so the way that this business is set up is first getting these collection channels in place, looking at different options to bring the bottles in.
Sure.
And when we stand up the bottle washing operation, that's where the actual profit starts to happen, as we start to build that up and wash the bottles and sell them. So yes, there's a lot of, I believe, quite frankly, that the incentivized model has to work. We're working in the state of California with the Cal Recycle collection system, so that actually Conscious Container does not have to pay for those bottles. We're going to be a processor, so really looking at different options by which we can channel and get those bottles in at the lowest cost, and then sell them to the brewers at a profit. And this is a volume-based business, right?
No, I think it's a great idea. Yeah, I'm very impressed tonight. Just I guess the revenue model is still a bit unclear, but I see where the opportunities are. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
How are you publicizing this to get more people to contribute or sell bottles to you?
So great question. What I have been doing, and this is where we're getting the really great month over month, is we have been at a lot of events. I always go to events that have a lot of beer at them, quite frankly. Beer events, social media, I'm out on all the social media platforms. I am starting to put out press releases at this point. We're going to do a very big press release. It's just about in motion down in Nevada for that pilot. So it's through events, media, press releases, and every month the goal is to grow the bottles coming in, and that's how just marketing.
Great. Yeah. I know, first of all, this is all straight up.
Drop off our bottles at the general store all the time in Glenshire, so love it. I know Alibi is threatening they want to move a lot of their production to cans for the exact same environmental reason that you talk about. Is that a real threat? And if it is, how will you deal with that in 3 to 5 years?
You know, the cans are growing in the craft brewing industry, there's no doubt. But cans are 10%, bottles are 60%. I just went to the California Craft Brewers Summit. Bottles are going to remain and will always be at the top end of the market. Right now in California, when you work the numbers on how many bottles are actually sold in California, you take out exports, you take out kegs, and you take out all the other kind of bottle types, at a 25% collection rate, that's still 70 million bottles in California we could collect.
Okay.
So
and you're not afraid of that trend going the other way?
No, not at all. And quite frankly, this marketplace, we're starting in the craft brewing industry, but the applications are much broader. 2 kombucha manufacturers in California want to wash the bottles, and they have no place to take them, as an example.
Thank you.
Lauren,
Question from the fireplace room. Have you done an environmental impact analysis on cleaning bottles versus recycling them?
Yes, actually I didn't put those numbers up there. We've got a great chart. The numbers are substantial when it comes to recycling versus reuse. And these studies, this is done in every other continent in the world except for here in the United States. So the carbon footprint impact is over 90% by using refillables as opposed to single-use glass. And then the water and the energy savings are also between 80 and 90% per glass bottle. So yes, the numbers are there.
Okay.
Yep. And there's a few coasters if anybody would like some. For your beer.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Now, Mike, sorry. I said such a loud voice. I'm really excited to introduce Ramona Cruz from Eddie Bowl, and her entire team is here. And again, I met them 2 years ago at SBC's Business Boot Camp when this was...
That's a true story.
Yes, it is a true story. This is like having children, you know, come along. So anyway, here you go.
Oh, I don't need this.
You need that. I am.
Wait a second, I need this.
Yes. Timers, you ready? We're ready. Okay.
So do I just, ready? Well, thank you. Hello, I'm Ramona Cruz. I'm one of the 4 members of the Eddie Bowl team. I'm here tonight to introduce the Eddie Bowl. We are first to market and we have 2 patents. The problem we want to solve is how to get your dog a good drink of water. It's convenient and easy. So what's our solution? Let me pull it out of my pocket. I have a new one sitting here, but the Eddie Bowl, it fits in your hand, it's field tested, and you can use it over and over again. This one's been used about 40 times. It's also made with bamboo fiber, added with a plant-based coating which holds the water and makes it compostable. It's strong and light, it weighs 4 grams, and it goes everywhere with you. Pull it up and put it back away in your pocket. So our competition, the canvas bowls, they're bulky, they're hard to clean, they mold, and they're not earth-friendly. The Eddie Bowl is made with sustainable materials. Why the Eddie Bowl? Pets. For pets, 4 times the number of kids, 90 million dogs, and 60 million homes. Pets appeal to all generations. They are part of our family. They go everywhere with us. 78% of consumers look for earth-friendly product. The Eddie Bowl meets this goal. Promotional opportunities, let the Eddie Bowl be your business card. So phase 1, market traction. Back in April 2016, we launched at Earth Day at Squaw Valley. We got great reviews. We've sold 8,300 Eddie Bowls to date. We have proven retail pricing at $9.99 for a 3-pack. So where are we going now? We're moving into phase 2. That's why we're here tonight. We were looking some promotional opportunities, co-branding and licensing for some potential business partners. Subaru, an Eddie Bowl in every glove box. REI, an Eddie Bowl in every backpack. Nike, an Eddie Bowl in their hands. So potential business partners, we've been doing some modeling in terms of what we're looking over the next 5 years and looking at securing 1 large business partner every year gives us about 7.5 million in units sold. Phase 2, also talking about how do we get to those Eddie Bowl customers, indirect and direct. BarkBox, 200,000 subscriptions monthly. Pet stores and services, presence in all 50 states. Outfitters, as we said with REI, direct, web sales, and to engage in our social media. And trade shows, we've been doing trade shows as well. We will continue doing those. And looking at this marketing and growing that market about 2.5% with the number for the 60 million homes that have dogs. We are looking about 6.7 million bowls in this model that we want to sell in the next 5 years. So what do we need? Phase 2, we want to sell 14.3 Eddie Bowls over the next 5 years. We're looking for $600,000 in a convertible note and investing opportunity. As our sales are projected over the next 5 years, holding to our models at 3.1 million, EBITDA at $7 million in the 5-year period. What are we going to do with this 600,000? We're going to do some rebranding. We've discovered in our market traction we need to rebrand our product. We're going to start our marketing campaign. We're looking at a pull pop pour for social media. Inventory about 210,000, 190,000 for miscellaneous, web, legal, consultants, travel, cash flow. So our team, to the left, Carol, our co-founder, our founder and our creator. She saw a need to get water to her dogs. She created this bowl based on a sailor's hat, named it Eddie because her father's name is Eddie, who is also a sailor. Darylyn here, also our marketing and creative. She has 25 years in the business. I'm a CPA, 24 years, plus the CFO. Linda Slack over here, Cruz, 20 years of operations and warehousing. So, nothing can survive without water. The Eddie Bowl just makes it easier. Thank you. Yeah. Do I have time left?
We're going to go right to judges and then, yeah. You do. Yes, yes, that was excellent. Ramona is the quiet one, and she was
I'm the quiet one. Yeah.
Please.
I'm having a drink.
As a dog lover, wow,
yes.
that was amazing.
Thank you.
I want to buy a 3-pack.
Pet station here in town.
I'm getting one.
Okay.
I think the only question you didn't answer is marginal cost. Marginal cost today, marginal costs at 1,000 units a month, marginal costs at 100,000 units a month.
Thank you. That's a good question. We had the original 35,000 made in China.
Okay.
So I'm going to say right now that cost runs about 35%. We're looking to have it made in the U.S. 35, yeah, it runs pretty true. It's around 35% also up to retail depending on what chain is purchasing, as well as when we look at the B2B or the potential business partners. Yeah.
What are you doing to have this carried by the major pet stores? Because there are several that are chains that are all over, and I would think they would probably be a good source to market.
Thank you. We're in some regional ones already. This is part of the phase 2 and moving forward, and how do we get that? That's why we are embarking on another sales campaign, marketing campaign to reach those stores, as well as reach those promotional opportunities, those other business partners that we talked about, the Subarus, the REIs, those kind of like-minded companies.
Can you tell us what percent of the company your financing will represent, and how you look forward? I have 2 dogs and I have several Eddie Bowls. I love them.
Mm-hmm. Oh, well.
But my real question gets down to, what's the valuation,
mm-hmm.
and is this company really just a product, or are there other products coming along? And is it just going to be a small one-product company? And so I like the product, but to me, it's a product, not a company.
Thank you. No, you're absolutely right. Right now, we're a one-product company. We have started looking at other products. We've looked at making our product out of other materials as well, testing that market. But we haven't gotten to that second phase. We've talked about it, but we haven't gotten there yet. You had the first question.
Valuation.
I don't know. Valuation. In terms of time and money, we're looking that we've probably invested about $600,000. And so the $600,000 is to match our time and the money we've actually put into the business ourselves.
So the new investor will have a 50% ownership stake?
We're looking at that, yeah. Somewhere around that.
Okay. Judges, you good? Dog lovers?
Dog lovers.
Animal lovers? Okay. Anybody from the audience? Lauren, do you have anybody? No? Seriously? Okay, in the back. Can you pass the mic expert? Thank you.
I'm wondering if the product eventually degrades or biodegrades or anything.
It does. We've put it into a composting facility down in Carson City, 6 to 8 months.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
So have you reached out to like local veterinarians or animal hospitals? I don't currently run with the dog, but I've seen people out hiking with them and they look extremely distressed.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, we have. We actually have a veterinarian in Florida who's carrying our bulls. We have another one, actually, if I go back one page, right here, this veterinarian here was so in love with our bulls, she was willing to give us a quote. So we have approached veterinarians. I think we even have one in town, Wendy Robinson.
So you said the bull that you showed, you've used 40 times. Do you have to dry it out, or does it degrade, you know, if you fold it up wet?
Fold it up wet, literally what we do. This is not what we use when we go out hiking with our 2 border collies, and they both drink out of this bowl. We just go like this, fold it up, and put it back in our backpack. I have one in my purse. I think we have it in our wallets. We have it in many places. So this is the joy of the Eddie Bowl, is that you can take it anywhere. This is why we're here tonight, because we think it's a great product, and we want to make sure we get our dogs hydrated, especially in the last few months, right?
Yeah, I have a question from Zachary Draper. How do you plan to compete with the collapsible silicone bowls? Why is your product better?
They don't decompose. Maybe a few hundred years. I'm sorry, I should say. Thank you, we've looked at those.
One more question?
We're just about out of time.
Okay.
Is there another question? I think we should call it.
Thank you. Okay. Pardon? Yeah, thank you.
Okay, we are halfway through. What do you think so far? Sorry, okay. This was so fun. I think the thing that surprised me the most was the variety of businesses we had at the pitch camp. Even the ones that didn't make it were very impressive, and maybe they'll be around for the next pitch camp, right? Okay, so I am really happy to introduce Jamie Bianchini, who has a very interesting project. I'm going to try to pull his thing up and let him set up. I think we're going to time this just perfectly. Jamie started a company called Ludella, and his story is pretty compelling. He's a master storyteller, and here, why don't I like those, and you?
No, we're okay.
Okay, we're good. Okay. Excellent.
Can everyone hear me?
Timers are ready? Okay, we're ready. Okay, let's hear it for Jamie's.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. My name is Jamie Bianchini. I'm the founder and CEO of Ludella. How many people, if I show of hands, have candles in their house? If you look around, quite a few people. Candles have been around for about 5,000 years, and it's an adored light source enjoyed by approximately 80 million households in the United States alone right now. But out of this 5,000 years that they've been around, nobody's ever really, truly innovated on the real flame candle space to address the problems that candle facers have to deal with. So what we're doing at Ludella is using patent-pending technology and innovation to create better, more enjoyable, safer candlelight, and using that innovation as a vehicle to create a better lives for those in need. So what problems are we solving? First of all, traditional candles are dangerous. Candles are the #1 cause of house fires in the United States. Does anyone here have cats, dogs, or kids? Right? So it's kind of hard to enjoy real flame candlelight with tails wagging and balls flying. But with Ludella, you get to have increased peace of mind and increased safety in your house, because if something does hit a candle, it will automatically extinguish the flame. That's one of several safety features that we've put into the candles to be able to have increased peace of mind. The next one is mess. Your traditional candles are messy. Ludella candles are never messy. They're always beautiful. Traditional candles get ugly. You may buy a nice candle to accent your decor, but after you use them for a while, can you relate what you see up here in these photos? So a lot of people just don't burn the candles, right? You let them sit there and collect dust. Ludella candles are always beautiful all the time. Traditional candles are also dim, so you buy a candle, it's got a nice bright flame, and after a while, what does it look like? You get a nice hole in here and you lose the flame, and the flame is what we're attracted to. It's a primal desire that we all love. We lose the flame. And they can be a hassle, all right? Cleaning out, finding wicks and maintaining your array of candles is enough to deter most people from even using them, so they collect a lot of dust. Ludella is right here. This particular candle has burned for over 300 hours, and as you can see, it looks just like it is for new. It's just as bright as always. And what we've created is basically brighter, prettier, safer, hassle-free candle, completely disruptive design. We've also have what's called scent on demand. It's the world's first ability to change and add scents on demand, which is a huge part of the market. It's one of the primary reasons people buy. You can change the scent on demand and maintain the decor that you have in your house. Also, refills on demand. These are our candle refills, the world's first patent-pending candle refill. You can have those sent to your house via subscription or pick them up at your local store, and they're an excellent value. The cost savings actually pays for the units themselves over time. So how did this whole story get going? We're a consumer-facing social brand. So in order to have a successful brand, having a great backstory that's authentic is really important. This product was actually invented out on this bicycle. I rode the front seat of this tandem bicycle and picked up strangers on the back seat on an 8-year, 81-country trip around the world. About halfway through the journey in Uganda, I met this new friend named Innocent. He hopped on the back of the bike, and as we were riding, he shared his dream. His dream was to start a school for AIDS orphans and the needy in his community. I didn't know how to start a school, but as a new friend, I promised that I would do whatever I could to help him. And I said goodbye, gave him a hug, and went off to West Africa. And when I was in West Africa, a candle was given to me by the owner of a hotel room. I lit the candle, went to bed, and sadly fell asleep and woke up to a fire in my room. And it was very terrifying, a lot of smoke. And luckily I was able to put it out, but the next day on the bike, I invented what is now Ludella. I was fortunate enough to come back and celebrate the opening and launch of Good Hope School with my Ugandan writer Innocent, and got a chance to experience what it feels like to empower somebody who is with the most empowering gift of all, which is education. And I wanted more, so I officially changed my life purpose to education. My son was born named Luca, which means the bringer of light. My daughter was born, you may see her running around, named Candela. Her name means the flame of a candle. We put those together to create Ludella, which is to bring better light and better lives. What is that? Better light is brighter, safer, hassle-free candlelight, and better lives is by donating a book per candle sold out to communities in need. This social cause and innovation has brought the attention of Zobele. Zobele is a large multinational, 98-year-old CM, and they've agreed to invest in all the product design, engineering, prototyping to ensure that we get to focus on what we do best, which is go to market and focus on our branding. Biggest challenge that we have is educating the market. We spent the last 18 months building relationship with influencers and catalogs and QVC all the way to high-touch retail to our final destination, which is Bed Bath & Beyond and so forth. We have a $39 million in signed LOIs, moving about 1 million devices so far in our forecast. Our impact is first social, 17 million books, 2,000 libraries, and this is our sales forecast, and this is our team, and this is our ask. Sorry, I got a little carried away, I think. So,
tell us a little bit more about your team. That went by much too fast.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Kelly is over here. She's an absolute dynamo. If I could have the clicker, I can go back and show that maybe real quick. Absolutely impossible to hit the kind of numbers I briefly shot up there without a stellar team. Kelly is an amazing finance and operations guru. Kathy happens to be the president of the Candle Association of America, so there is no better candle guru on our team. And Paula has taken several consumer-facing brands from startup all the way through to market, is a branding guru, and is working just right now as just a dream team. I'm very blessed to have this team. So, and we also have a great advisory team. So in due diligence, I would recommend speaking with everybody and, of course, checking out our advisory team.
You also went through the financials really well.
I'm so sorry. I know. That's my bad. That's my bad. Our first 2 years, 2018 and 2019, are kind of based on our LOIs and forecasts. By 2020, we hope to have the product category and our social branding on moving and be able to go into big box retail as well as international channels.
What's the timing of your patent?
We'll know about the first patent. We have 2 patents. One is on the actual device. We should know about that by around October this year, so we filed a non-provisional there. The provisional patent is on the cartridge, which is the world's first single-use recyclable cartridge. That's what maintains the actual wax and refill inside. So this is a real candle that's inside, but it's being pushed up by a spring, single-use, sealed, so it keeps all the mess, keeps all the danger and so forth inside. So that is just a provisional. We're using this use of funds. Part of it is for the non-provisional. Hi, Josh.
You mentioned up there you had 1 million units that you moved, but you have 4 million here. What's your revenue?
Yeah, those are LOIs. They're forecasted over the course of 3 years. So the first year is smaller, and so it's basically forecasted.
Okay, thank you. I really like the recurring revenue aspect of it with the refill cartridges.
I love it too. Trust me.
Cool.
And it's a recurring impact as well. So it's not only recurring revenue, but there's enough margin to have recurring impact. So every 2-pack of these sold to consumers is a book out to communities in need. So our cost of goods on our books are zero because we get donated books from publishers and libraries. So our only cost is getting it over to Africa or Asia or eventually United States, yes. But right now the literacy rates in the United States just don't hold a candle to what is going on abroad.
2 things. The first one was, I got the impression that you're like adapting existing candles to install these? Is there like a tool to like bore out a hole to install this? Or?
It's basically a device that's a decorative outer shell. So if there was a particular designer, for example, who had a design that we wanted to adapt, we could license our technology over to them. They could keep their design, their logo, and their emblems, and that's another revenue stream.
So like Ludella compatible.
Exactly, okay. Things like that for sure.
And the other one was about the social mission that you have.
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering if is it more cost effective to ship books rather than maybe have books just manufactured there? I don't know what the
there's right now on the African continent there's very, very minimal actual printing going on on the African continent, so it's much more expensive. Our cost of goods is about 50 cents delivered to an actual library location. So we bring a container over, we can do about 3 libraries or 4 libraries, and that is much cheaper than doing printing on them. But we are going to investigate that and other kinds. Same thing Tom's Shoes went into. You start with your initial mission, and then you shape things as you start to grow and scale and have different access to resources.
What valuation have you put on the company? And also, are those cartridges reusable or just recyclable?
Right now, they're recyclable as of right now. We do have a do-it-yourself version that is going to be coming up next, which you'll be able to do the maintenance yourself, clean yourself, and so forth. But right now, it's designed for being able to put in with your tin cans and so forth. To answer your question, the valuation, we're still in negotiation with several soft commits that we have right now. We have about $250,000 in soft commits. So we did our first round of funding at a $5 million valuation cap. So we're somewhere probably between the 6 and 8. I think we're going to be having discussions around that for everything that we put in place. Yes.
What made your candle extinguish? Was that a different technology?
Yeah, there's 2 different models here. This is called Ludella Perfect, which doesn't have any actual electronics in it. It's purely a mechanical design. This one actually has a small fan, has a battery, and has actual technology enabled inside of it.
Great.
Excellent, everyone. Thank you so much.
Okay, and now for something entirely different. And I do mean entirely different.
Can we bring it over just a little bit more?
So Sam, we're going to show you Fate. Oops, I don't want to give anything away here. Sam Gabafa comes up from UNR. You did graduate, right?
I did.
Okay. Not that that's a requirement, but pay close attention because he's got some interactive things. And timers, are you ready?
One moment. I'm presenting with my partner.
Okay.
Un momento.
All right. Okay. This was the fun. They were all a surprise, but just you have to pay very, very close attention to what's going on the screen. Okay. Are you ready there?
Yeah.
Okay. Jeremy? Okay.
Thank you. All right. My name is Sam Boffa, and this is Jeremy Luchak, and we're here to present Fate. Fate is a Choose Your Adventure platform where people get to create their own Choose Your Adventure stories, and other people can play them. By show of hands, how many of you are familiar with Choose Your Adventure? So for those who don't know, Choose Your Adventure stories are stories where you get to pick your own outcome and come to different endings. Right now, people love to read. People are using phones in increasing quantities, and there's an opportunity because there are not really many Choose Your Adventure stories on mobile devices. So that's why we created Fate. So right here is our current prototype. As you can see, the story begins, and those are the lines. You have your options at the bottom. So hopefully you guys can read this. I'll narrate a bit. So you're talking to someone, you want to know, who are you? And he's Phil, a pig and fairy. You can have different genres. You can have fantasy, you can have science fiction, mysteries. It's really up to you. So right now, there's a knock at Phil's door. Should he answer it? Yes or no? We choose yes. And he wants to know, should we really answer it? Like, yeah, why not? We're pretty trustworthy, right? Looks like we made a bad call, but that's the benefit of Choose Your Adventure stories. You can always go back and make another decision. This is pretty much based on the 3 Little Pigs, and in the Fate library, you'll be able to play all kinds of stories. So how we want to get this rolling is we want to pay authors to write the first content base. Afterwards, we want to launch the app with free and subscription models. So the free tier would have advertisements and have a limit on the amount of stories you play a day. Subscription would remove that and have a few extra perks. We want to expand, so we have an ecosystem where authors have followers and have ratings, where people are attracted to the platforms to write to get exposed. We want to go to market using Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook ads, so we can reach our target demographics. Those are teenagers, young adults, and people who are familiar with Choose Your Adventures, who've read them as kids. Most of these people have cell phones and have easy access to app stores like Google Play and Android Store. When we look at some of our competitors, we first start with Hooked. Hooked is a text-based stories app. So it's really just reading stories in the form of text messages. They have a subscription model where you pay $3 a week or $8 a month, and they currently have 1.2 million users, and their average daily revenue is more than $52,000. There's also Episodes, which is a Choose Your Adventure platform, but focuses on pictures. So you go from picture to picture. They have a few more users at 1.3 million and make a bit more at $85,000 a day. So they have a different payment model where you pay per story. So we are gonna go more towards what Hooked is like. So why should we even make Fate? Why should we do Fate? Fate is essentially focused on the story. We wanna make Choose Your Adventure stories available for anyone, from children to adults. We wanna make them available to people on devices they carry with them all the time, which is their smartphones.
Now, our goal with a subscription model similar to that of Hooked would be to grow to 70,000 users by the end of the first year, with enough of them being paid subscription users so that we're generating $40,000 in monthly recurring revenue by the end of the first year. More important than that, though, is keeping those subscribers, generating new content, keeping them paying, and keeping them playing. To get to that, we will start by being featured on app stores. We will also be trying to release content in multiple languages because we want Fate to be global, and also targeting people who we expect to not only read the content, but to share it by word of mouth. For this, we'll need a few things. We'll need talent in the form of people who know what they're doing, whether it's a technical aspect, the managerial aspect. We'll also need a marketing and advertising budget so that we can become popular, and also to be able to pay for server and operational costs that are inherent with online applications. and just in case, a little bit of wiggle room for unexpected complications. For this, we are asking for a value of $350,000 in the form of a convertible note with the terms shown below. This is based on projections from Hooked and other similar competitors that should get us to where we want to be. Right now, our team only consists of Sam, the original idea creator and founder, myself, a co-developer for the application, and our two advisors, Mike and Todd, who have been pivotal in helping us get to this point. So, once, what's his name? James Russell Lowell once said that fate rewards the fearless. So our question to you is, what is your choice?
Maybe I missed something, but can you give us a little bit better idea of given the competitors that you clearly mentioned and had pretty good info on, what's different about Fate and why you're going to succeed as they have?
So what's different about Fate is that we are, in comparison to Hooked, we're all about choose your adventure, and we really want to focus the story. So it's not just reading text messages like these, like someone gets kidnapped and you're texting your best friend, and you read that from top to bottom. We put you in the driver's seat, so it's more interactive. You get to like see the consequences of your decision. Maybe you make a choice and you tell someone to go a certain place. It takes a few hours in real time, and you get a push notification later saying, "Hey, I made it," or "Oh no, this is a terrible idea." So it's more like responsive. With episodes is targeted with a younger female audience. So a lot of the stories are based on, they're generally things that, at least me as a 23-year-old male, I just have no interest in playing any of these. So I think in just expanding the genres that are available, we want to make it so that people can play a greater, I guess, variety of stories. We built a tool, we're working on patenting it, to create these stories, because they can be pretty intricate and complicated. They're like, you start at a certain point and then you keep branching out. And you can see how it could get pretty difficult to write a story like that. So our tool, which we were working on patenting, also helps differentiate us.
There are a lot of apps that are like the tree that fell in the woods. You know, they just don't get any downloads, and I'm using them and no one else is using them, and it's like, why aren't there 100,000 downloads? So my question for you is, what's your go-to-market strategy? How are you going to get your first 100,000 downloads?
So, well, I have an idea, and I studied electrical engineering, so I'm not an expert in marketing. I haven't really studied it. So we're aiming towards getting our target demographic, but our focus right now is to get someone who has experience in bringing an app to mass market. Right? I think we have a great product, but it's a matter of getting it successful. And personally, I don't have the expertise to let you know what's the best way to take it to the top of the App Store. So.
Questions?
Okay, what sort of intellectual property protection, you mentioned patent, but overall in intellectual property, what protections do you have, or what are you looking for to give you some enforceability?
Right now, we're seeking a patent for the tool to convert to convert the story that we write using our Fate editor to the story that you can play. So the story in the demo at the beginning up here, there's a tool this was built using the Fate tool, the Fate editor. And right now, we have authors who are working using this tool, and we're getting feedback from them, just to make sure it's very easy to use. You can, and it like flows with how their like process of writing stories is. So it's really, we really are seeking a patent on that tool to generate this story.
Hello?
One here and then one up there.
So I was curious if you have done any trials with users and being able to measure engagement and like how long they're using it, maybe compared to the other apps, which might be an argument for saying that this model it could catch on and be more viral. Yeah, something like that.
When Fate started this, or when Sam started this idea of Fate, I was actually not involved. So I had the perspective of a non-developer. I was one of the users who, I'm a video gamer. I played games like The Witcher, Portal. They give you choices, you decide what to do. So when I saw this and I started actually writing a story where I chose to go in different directions, it was very engaging to me personally. Now others, I don't know.
And right now we have beta content, so we don't have full fleshed out stories. Like this story, it's pretty much the Three Little Pigs, but it's not the best, it's not the best representation of what Fate can really do. So we haven't really pushed out our app to users to get their feedback yet. So right now it's based on just our presentation to classrooms. So I've gone to the university, I've gotten a few authors by presenting in classrooms, and people are generally interested and they want to write for it and they want to know when it will be available to be used.
Our final entrepreneur was inspired by a personal story, and hold on, there we go. And we've got to find her PowerPoint. Keep on Moving with Ellen Raynor. And where is she? Okay, hang on. We'll just do this for a second. Wow, okay. It was here. We'll get it. I'm going to put this away for a second. Hold on. Nothing old technology can't solve. No?
It is it, but am I not going to get my timer and everything with my clicker?
Oh.
No, you can't download it. It's over 100 megs.
It's been downloaded. Here, I know where to go. Oh,
Hi.
there's one in every crowd.
Yeah. I have it on my computer too. If it's faster, I can pop my computer in.
Nope. Sorry, Ellen.
It's okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Oh.
I don't think so. We'll put in like technical. Okay. Good?
Yep.
Okay. Timers? You ready? Okay.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for staying all the way to the end. My name is Ellen Raynor, and together with Mark Feinholtz and Scott Williams, we created Keep on Moving. How many of you have ever been through physical therapy? Yeah, most of us have. That's actually a picture of me after a ski injury, and I aggravated my back doing my home exercise program incorrectly at home. That's why we created Keep on Moving, so that patients would do their home exercises correctly every day. This is a picture of a patient using our video-based mobile app that gives them a guided workout experience. This will be paid for by large employers who have on-site health clinics and are self-insured. The problem is patients don't actually do their home exercise program. They're often confused. They walk out with things like this. They forget how to do it, and they just don't do their program. So you're probably wondering why it is that employers are going to pay for this. Almost half of the people with insurance in the United States get their insurance through an employer. And most of those employers are actually self-insured. And so self-insured means that the employer is paying the claims themselves. It's not an insurance company. The insurance company might be a third-party claims administrator, but the employer is on the hook for paying the claims. And as a result of that, they're willing to do innovative things where they'll pay for things that are different from what there's billing codes for already in the healthcare system. One of the things they do is create on-site health centers, and there's over 7,000 of those today. It's not just health insurance, it's also workers' comp. So if you think about it, mom's not going to pay for piano lessons if you're not going to practice, right? Same thing with the employers. So there's a lot of things that are motivating the employers to pay for this sort of thing. It's the healthcare expense. It's the lost time in the office. It's employee satisfaction. They're competing with other companies to retain the employees, and workers' comp. So this is what our solution is. You had a little glimpse of a patient in action using our video-based app. But for the healthcare clinics at the employer sites, there's an exception-based dashboard that allows them to interact with their patients between visits. And so before you've even asked for help, your physical therapist knows what's going on and is reaching out to help you. So our competitive edge and where we filed our patents is on the guided workout experience, and then on the data collection that we do every single time you do your workout. As I mentioned, our initial target market is large self-insured employers who have on-site health clinics, and there are over 7,000 of those today. So it's a pretty healthy-sized market. We've had input from employers about what they're willing to pay, and then there's plenty of places to expand beyond that. We also have a rockstar team. Mark and I have been in enterprise software for over 20 years. Me in analytics, Mark in healthcare, and then our own Scott Williams at the bottom of the hill here at Synergy Therapeutics, maybe some of you have been to him, is our clinical expert on the team. We've already accomplished quite a lot. We've built what 4 software companies might do. We have an enterprise app that's for the clinicians. We have in the App Store a patient-facing mobile app, and maybe some of you have used it already. We have a robust library of video-based exercises that we've already built, and it's all HIPAA compliant. We've done all of this on a bootstrap budget, including filing our non-provisional patent applications, and have also lined up pilots. So over time, we've moved from where patients use the app occasionally as a reference app, all the way to now where they're logging on 5 or more times per week. And we've lined up pilots for the next phase of our development. So we're raising a $300,000 pre-seed round. With that, we will execute the pilots that will give us the data that we can then advertise. And depending on how much funding we raise, we'll also do ports and that sort of thing. So I hope you'll join us on this journey. Keep on moving with us. Thank you.
So I talked about this some with my wife last week. She's in orthopedic surgery and previously was in physical therapy, and she thinks this is really cool because anyone in the industry, whether patient or clinician, knows that no one does the physical therapy when they go home. So I guess my only question would be, I see the market for it, and I think, I did download the app, and I think you guys are really onto something here. My only question would be, how are you coming up with the $100,000 revenue number?
So the $100,000 revenue number is coming from direct input from people in HR at several large employers. They tend to be employers that have campuses of 10 to 12,000 employees on site at a minimum. So that works out pretty cheap on a per employee per month basis.
Can I just follow up on that? So
you still, for it to be compelling, you're replacing some other expense that they're currently paying, correct? Or are you just telling them that you're now going to have fewer absent days? You're going to have, is it a financial comparison sell, or is it a I don't know, sort of more esoteric sell to these 7,000 sites?
So the question was, oh, I guess they could hear with the microphone. I don't have to repeat that one. So it is an added expense, and this is something that we see when there's an on-site health clinic. One of the things that they tout is that there is more physical therapy expense because it reduces the overall cost for the employer. And that's why going after the employers is the place that it makes sense. They're trying to do innovative things, knowing that that affects employee absenteeism, knowing that it reduces re-injury, knowing that it allows them to complete their entire cycle of care, and allowing patients to spread out their visits till they're fully recovered, as opposed to, using them up early on.
Can't help thinking that there's only so many employers, but potentially a much larger market. Do you have any thoughts for expanding beyond employers as your customers?
Yes, absolutely. And we're already starting pilots at an orthopedic surgeon's office, as well as at a large research institution. So we expect we're going to expand quite a ways beyond that. There are bundled payment models where hospitals are on the hook for the risk of an entire 90-day episode of care, and so that's motivating them beyond the 1 or 2 day hospital stay. So there's quite a few markets, and we're starting to see that with pilots in each of those.
Can you tell us about the competition?
Excuse me. So the question was about the competition. So there are dozens and dozens of exercise apps out there, and their shortcomings are, each one is different, whether it be something that's trying to promote more physical therapy visits, whether it's something, most of them are mostly a how-to application where you would watch a video once or twice and you can't do any tracking or interaction between visits. Where we've filed our patent is on our complete do-along experience that automatically configures to exactly what you've been prescribed. And so that's something that's unique. How-tos are something that you watch. A do-along experience, although there's a video there, you want to be getting audio cues, and that's what we're focused on. What's the purpose of the exercise? Where should you feel it? What are compensatory motions to avoid? That sort of thing, all the while tracking that so that we can give exception alerts to the provider so that they can reach out to you.
Yeah, this question is from Heather Elledge, and she asks, what is the physical therapist's role and what is their incentive to follow through with patients?
That's a great question. Most physical therapists, they say, oh, are you trying to replace me with technology? Absolutely not. You're going to get replaced by physical therapists who use technology. You're still going to get the same number of visits, but you're going to spread them out more so that the patient can have a full recovery. We view physical therapists as an important part of the process. In fact, we consider them artisans, where they're prescribing very specific exercise programs on a patient-by-patient basis. We allow them to set up a protocol and then modify it specifically for that patient. So they're finding that once they get used to the app, they're able to prescribe a home exercise program more quickly than their current methodologies.
Excellent. One, 3 seconds. Yep. Use the mic here.
So I have a 23-year-old son that had an ACL injury. And what is going to protect you from, let's say he was getting on your app and gets injured? Do you have liability insurance? What are you going to do to protect yourself if, your patients get injured?
Thank you. Welcome to the club. I've done 3 ACLs. So yes, we do have full liability insurance, but patients are not allowed to self-prescribe. You can't download the app and have it magically do something for you. The app is prescribed by a physical therapist. All of the exercises were specified by his physical therapist, and the physical therapist is not allowed to prescribe an exercise without having first viewed that video. So they have agreed that that's the way they want the exercise to be performed.
Great. Okay, we're good?
Okay. Listen up. This is your time to shine. This is very, very important. First, thank you, judges. We have a room for you, right, Garrett? That Garrett's going to take you to caucus, okay? And the rest of you got a dot when you came in. Your job is to go in the hall and pick your favorite, okay? What resonated with you? So, community yogi, conscious container, Eddie Bowl, Ludella, Fate, or Keep On Moving. Okay, pick your favorite. You get one dot, one person, one vote. And go ahead, and after you vote, come right back in this room because I don't think our judges are going to be that long. And we're, okay? Okay. The judges are still coming down. I can tell you they're having a really hard time, very hard time. They wanted to do a 6-way tie, but we wouldn't let them. Oh, yeah. And they, the other good thing is, please understand this was our pilot. Literally, we threw a date out there, the September meeting, and we backed into it. So this is the first time we've done this, and we learned a lot. And we are just going to continue to make this event better. But in light of the fact that the judges are not here, I can award the People's Choice. Okay? So the People's Choice actually wins a Shop AIP gift certificate. Shop AIP is autoimmune protocol, thank you. She was one of our participants who just couldn't finish. A Truckee Roundhouse 12-visit punch pass, Banny Band's headband, Girl Made gift basket, okay? And the winner of People's Choice was fairly clear. It is Eddie Bowl. Come on up, okay.
I'd like to thank my mother and my father. My dog. My dog. Oh, sorry. Thank you. Thank you all. This means an awful lot. Thank you.
And will you look at our photographer?
Yeah. Photo. I'm going to write, sorry.
Oh, sorry, we're trying to. Thank you. Awesome. Let's have a sign in the middle.
Thank you.
The sign. Oh, yes. Okay, ladies, ready? 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Okay. And our judges just in time. Okay. What do you have? We have no idea what they decided, so, but I think they want to say a few things.
Oh, I know and everything first. I plan to present it. Okay. Awesome. All right, so now we're going to announce the prizes first, and then the winner for the judge prize. So we have our first prize is from Big Water Studios, and it's a 1-minute founder video. Our next prize is from 1100 Ways, and it's the voiceover that goes along with that video, as well as copywriting help for the video. From the Truckee Chamber, we have an annual membership. From the Reno Collective, we have a full membership for the founders of the winning team. And we also have from Nina Photography, who's here tonight, a professional headshot. From W&T Graphics, we have a digitizing logo setup for a shirt or hat and 1 embroidered shirt. And from Chronicle X Media, we have a 2-hour social media or website consulting session. And I know Dick is super eager, so he's going to announce the actual winner, and I have the certificate here.
We have a certificate. Why don't you hold on to the certificate?
I will.
Okay, well, this was, judging this was really kind of a unique experience for all 3 of us. And I must say we went into it not really being sure exactly what we were looking at or how to evaluate. They gave us a worksheet with some different criteria we could look at. We heard 6 presentations, and frankly, all of them, each in their own way, had some merit. And to pick one and say, well, this one's better than the others is really kind of tough. We were told to pick one. We actually wound up picking a first runner-up and then an overall winner. And our first runner-up is the Candleman. Okay, now I suppose we should try to stretch out the suspense as long as possible, right? Okay, overall, the one that we picked as the best was the physiotherapy.
guys, can you move over this way, please?
Come on. Keep going.
Keep going.
Keep going.
Oh.
Keep going.
Keep on moving.
Dick, can I get you to put that down, please? Awesome. All right. Come a half step forward. Get a little closer. Pretend you like each other. Ready? 1, 2, 3, and one more. 1, 2, 3.
One thing. I see one thing. For our yes. For our other.
We have a mic, sorry,
Okay, I'm double mic now. So for our other 4 participants, because we know that you're going to be back and want to stay up late, we have Sierra Pacific Coffee, another one of our clients who generously donated coffee for the other contestants. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much. When this idea came up and somebody said, hey, should we do a pitch event? I said, oh, sure, yes, why not? And we had no idea what we would be getting into. So this was huge. It was awesome. Thank you so much, everybody. The reason why this all worked out to be great is, of course, again, under the competent leadership of Rachel McCullough, and forgive me, I started 5 minutes late, but other people also added a few minutes. So, but we really have to give you a big thank you. And then, of course, Kristen, who is who brought in a lot, in addition to her expertise. Of course, she is the lead from the Sierra Business Council. And can you imagine, she did all that today on her birthday. So really, you just didn't know that this was a trick to invite you to her birthday party. So Ellen actually is also getting an extra thank you. Now, she already is a winner, so it was really worth it. But she was also instrumental in putting the whole thing together and coaching and managing. And so was Blaze, who is here. Thank you. Thank you so much. We hope that the partnership with the Sierra Business Council was not a one-off. This was really amazing, so thank you. We want to, yes, it's on, yes. And then, of course, all the mentors who helped the individual teams, and I do want to say that those who didn't make it winners tonight, I see a lot of potential in your companies too. So sorry, there's just can be one winner, but it's not always the winner of the competition that actually is the winner in the market. So you're still on. You're still on. Keep on moving. And then of course, as Rachel had said earlier, all those volunteers that helped today to make it work, the sponsors for our group, the sponsors of the gifts, and everyone who showed up. So thank you so much.